Bettor Sports props and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm YouTube. Appreciate everyone joining us on a Tuesday afternoon. Got Jon Impemba with me as we do most Tuesdays on this show. What's up, John?
Just hanging in there. It's gonna be a fun week here. And obviously Thanksgiving's this week. We got the football games, we got some big basketball games going on. I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah. We got last night's Monday Night Football game was definitely entertaining and fun. And me and Howard both gave out some winning props and bets for the game. You know, we both said he put the bet out, but we both said we liked the under overall in the game. I hit on Jalen Hurts' prop. He hit on like the under on AJ Brown's receiving yards. I know he won the battle, the over on Isaiah Pacheco's rushing yards. I took the unders, but either way, we had some winners and losers. But yeah, this Thanksgiving, we got obviously all the Thursday Thanksgiving games. And on tomorrow's show, me and Howard will be giving out our bets for all of Thursday's games, props and all that. But we also have that Friday afternoon, Black Friday game right in the middle of the day. So that'll be fun. But then obviously Sunday and college football, by the way, college football fans out there, the day after Thanksgiving, we got a whole Friday slate of games. So keep an eye out for bets on tomorrow's show. I'll be giving out, our better edge pick. And but obviously, college football DFS will have, picks and plays all for that. College basketball, by the way, has been just rolling along. If anybody's a college hoops fan out there, we got games all day long. Late into the night last night was UCLA Marquette. It was a fun one. But on today's show, though, tonight we got NBA. John will be giving out some NBA picks. Yep. We got college basketball, as I said, so I will be giving out some college basketball. Got to start, though, with some NFL because I think this is a key time to look at some of the division odds out there and see where, there's value bet on some of these, second or third place teams to maybe, take the division, make the playoffs, or fading, some of the current division leaders because we've had tons of, especially quarterback injuries, but just change overall from the beginning of the year. So right now, and let's quickly go through like some of the ones that are just, probably not going to touch any of the long shots for like a division like let's start with the AFC West. Like the Chiefs are minus 2,000 favorites.
Yeah.
You're going with the Broncos at plus 2,500. You're going with the Chargers at plus 2,500. Raiders even.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point, that they're lottery tickets, right? They're long shot plays. You're not throwing down a large chunk of cash expecting that this late in the season that a bunch of teams that are under 500 or 500 are going to overtake Kansas City sitting there at 7-3 because you need some catastrophic things likely to happen to Kansas City here.
Mahomes injury, basically.
Yeah, a Mahomes injury, exactly, to kind of fall their way down. And not only that, you look at the schedule now for Kansas City coming up, and it's just gotten like infinitely easier.
Yeah.
Knowing that, now Cincinnati doesn't have Joe Burrow, the Patriots and the Raiders are what they are. You look at that schedule, the Buffalo Bills might be their only potential loss to finish out the year, right? Like Raiders, Packers, Bills, Patriots, Raiders, Bengals, Chargers, right? So, and they're home against the Buffalo Bills as well. So they might just run the table, honestly, at that point. But Buffalo would be their only scare. So, outside of Mahomes' injury, I don't really see where they're losing the division, to be truthful.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're literally betting on a Mahomes
miracle. Betting on a miracle, right? That's basically it. So
I know the Broncos have caught fire here, but
listen, if the Raiders sweep the series, then we can talk, right? They got 2 games coming up against Las Vegas. If it was Las Vegas and Aiden O'Connell, get it together and they run the series, then there's a conversation to be had. But
listen, as good as the Chiefs are, it was very interesting that they got shut out in the second half last night to lose that game against the Eagles. Like if
The wide
That is
receivers have
weird
been
to
a
see.
problem for them all season long, right? The inconsistent play at their wide receiver position. Yeah, I don't know how much the weather had to do with that last night. I mean, I know it wasn't like
It was a
crazy,
weird
but it was
wet.
raining a little bit. It was cold. It was wet, but it
Like
was like
Kelsey fumbling in the red zone.
right, yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, some fluky stuff there. I mean, Mahomes still had 2 touchdown passes, but I largely agree with you. I just wonder if the conditions of that game had anything to do because neither offense was doing anything last night. They were mostly just running the football
Yeah.
until the end there. So I don't know. I'll almost give it a little bit of a pass, but yeah, obviously not an encouraging performance there out of Kansas City.
Yeah. The AFC East is another one that the Dolphins are minus 500 right now to win the division. I mean, the Bills plus 450. We were kind of writing them off, a couple weeks ago or last week. And I mean, they are still live in this division. I don't expect them to win it over Miami, but they are. When you look at the standings, they're only a game and a half back in the standings right now. So it's another situation where there's definitely value to bet on the Bills right now. Definitely wouldn't lay the 500 minus 500 with the Dolphins, but
No.
the Dolphins, you can't write off the Bills just yet, even though it started off very poorly as we would have expected.
Yeah, the thing with that is, again, just sort of the way the schedule is lining up. Miami has coming up the Jets, the Commanders, the Titans, the Jets, Cowboys, Ravens, Bills finish it out. So they could technically lose the last 3 games there if things could go poorly for them. But the Bills have to go Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. So knock up a win on New England. They'll be home there, but they have to go on the road against the Chargers. No guarantee. On the road against Miami to end the season, on the road against Kansas City, on the road against Philadelphia. They have 2 home games to finish out the year. It's against the Cowboys and against the Patriots. So, Buffalo is not really in a great spot here to make any sort of run given the schedule. So Miami probably just out of attrition there ends up winning this division, right?
Yeah, and that schedule is exactly why at the beginning of the year, me and Howard going through every team win total, we both went under on Buffalo because it was like you look at their schedule and it's a gauntlet, and already they've lost a couple of their easier games. So, yeah, that's a tough finish.
They lost opening night against a Rodgers-less Jets team. That shouldn't have happened. Right?
That's a bad start. All right, we got 2 divisions on the AFC that are actually worth discussing more here. The AFC North, because the Ravens at 8-3 are in first, but the Browns are at 7-3. The Steelers are at 6-4. I guess we're writing off the Bengals, 5-5, just lost Joe Burrow, but that top 3 is still, I feel like any of these teams could win it. And the Ravens are minus 225 on BetMGM to win it, as they are currently in first. But Browns at plus 275, and I can't quit the Steelers at plus 750 because they're not that far back in the division. And, every one of these teams have some more division games coming up. Like they could just kind of beat up on each other. Ravens could take a couple more losses, and all of a sudden the Steelers are right in it. But I think even the Browns, though they're without Deshaun Watson now, they've shown they can win without him.
I was going to say, they basically haven't had a quarterback all season long anyways.
Yeah.
Just look at the way that Deshaun Watson has played and PJ Walker has played. Their defense has been so good, it's been able to keep them in games, and their offense is good enough that they're still able to kind of move the ball a little bit and make some plays to get them in scoring position there. I don't know what to make of the Joe Flacco signing. Like, are we really going to get Joe Flacco starting football games here in 2023 for a playoff team? That seems a little interesting to see what happens there. Obviously, Dorian Thompson-Robinson looked good enough to win last week. I don't know if I would bet on any of these other teams to overtake Baltimore, but I understand the appeal here. I just feel like eventually the quarterback weaknesses or the unprovenness of the quarterback position for the Steelers and Browns are going to end up costing them down the stretch here. But hey, new offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh, if they utilize some of their talent a little bit better than we feel Matt Canada has, maybe that offense starts putting up points that can match how good their defense is.
Let me sell you on Pittsburgh real quick to possibly bet the plus 750 there, because their schedule coming up. They get the Bengals next week. They get the Cardinals. They get the Patriots. They get the Colts. Then they get the Bengals again.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get the Seahawks on the road, which is tough. And then they finish out on the road at Baltimore. I mean, this next 4-5 game stretch, though, is very favorable. If they can just kind of figure things out on offense, their defense is, again, kind of like the Browns, is going to keep them in games. And the Ravens, looking at their upcoming schedule, next week at the Chargers, or this week at the Chargers, Rams at home, Jaguars on the road, 49ers on the road, Dolphins, and then Pittsburgh. It's a much tougher schedule than Pittsburgh. So I think there's value taking the Steelers there. But,
I would probably take them over Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland's got a good defense. They got to go on the road 3 times here to close out the year, in Denver in LA against the Rams, in Houston, which, Houston, that could be a playoff game there. And then they close out the year in Cincinnati as well. So maybe a little bit of a tougher stretch there for Cleveland, but their defense is going to hang them in. Yeah, listen, I like the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and we know there's a lot of talent on the offensive side. If whoever they end up having call plays there moving forward, that offense changes. It's the way it's been running right now. It can be more efficient. I think that's a good call by you. Again, they're so close, right? That a team being 7.5 to 1, they're only a game or 2 behind, seems like a good value bet.
And who knows? We could have that Week 18 matchup to decide the division if they are tied in the record, and it's like, all right, winner go home. And Ravens are at home for that one, and they already beat the Steelers on the road this season. So, all right, how about the AFC South? Because this is another tight one, especially with the odds, at least at the top here, because the Jaguars minus 250 to win the division right now. They are 7-3 in the division, but the Texans 6-4. They're only a game back in the standings, and they are at plus 225 on BetMGM to win the division. If you want to go just a little farther down, 2 games back are the Colts, 5-5, and they're at plus 1,600. I don't know if I'd go there, but I mean, listen, I think the Texans are still alive in this. I don't know if I'd bet it, but in my opinion, at this point, I would have thought the Jaguars would have at least a 2 or 3 game lead in over any other team in this division, and they're only a game up on the Texans right now.
I mean, we've already seen Jacksonville lose to the Texans this year, and now they're playing again, this time in Houston. So this could honestly be for the division come the end of the season with just the head-to-head records there. Because you look at Houston's schedule, at home against Jacksonville this week, at home against Denver, feels like a pretty good spot for them. They go on the road to face the Jets, the fighting Tim Boyles or whoever they're going to have at quarterback there. Tennessee, home against Cleveland, home against Tennessee, and they finish the year in Indy. So, a really easy schedule on paper here for Houston, the way that they're rolling. Where Jacksonville, again, they're on the road against Houston this week. They luck out, probably having now with the Bengals with their quarterback situation. Then they have to go into Cleveland. Then they have the Ravens. Those are 2 games they certainly could find themselves losing. I don't think going into Tampa Bay is an easy matchup for Jacksonville there. Then they have home versus Carolina and on the road against Tennessee to finish the year. Probably 2 games they could win. But, if they don't beat Houston this week, they could easily find themselves maybe losing 3 in a row, having to go on the road twice against Cleveland, Tampa Bay, wedged in between a home matchup against Baltimore there.
Yeah. I think if you are looking to bet this, I would, if you want the Texans, you definitely want to get them now before this week's game. Because they do, as you were just saying, if they beat the Jaguars again, those odds will definitely change. And if you want to bet the Jaguars, I think maybe you wait a week. There's no value on minus 250 right now, obviously. But if you wait a week and then they do lose to the Texans,
right, they probably flip, right? They probably go 220.
They flip, or maybe it's like basically even for both of them, like kind of a coin flip. And so I'd wait on the Jaguars if you think they might lose a game or 2 coming up. You could get a lot better odds, but think that they maybe pull it out in the back end of their schedule. So yeah. All right, how about let's go to the NFC. Some of these divisions are, you can kind of wrap them up, and I don't see much value. Like the NFC East, Eagles now minus 900 to win the NFC East on BetMGM. The Cowboys are at plus 600. They are only 2 games back in the division, but I mean, at this point, the Eagles do, though. They have a tough schedule still remaining. They get Buffalo, 49ers, Cowboys, Seahawks on the road, Giants twice, which,
I was going to say, they'll end the season with a 3-game winning streak. So
they usually lose one of the games against the Giants, it feels like. But
well, maybe. I mean, week 18, I mean, the season may be wrapped up. Yeah, maybe wrapped up by then.
But the next like 4-game stretch, though, Bills, 49ers, they do get both those at home, which is huge.
Yeah.
But at Dallas, at Seattle, it's definitely not like, handed to.
I'd be willing to throw some money on Dallas right now.
I think, I think those odds are create a lot of value. Plus 600 for only a 2-game lead.
Knowing that Eagles have San Francisco, Buffalo, and then Dallas on their schedule, I mean. And what, they're on the road against Dallas in that one too, right? So
they are.
Yeah, so they again, 2 home matchups like you said, but Buffalo, San Francisco are certainly 2 games that they could lose. They lose those 2 games, now they're 9-3. Dallas wins their next 2 games, they're 9-3. You have 2 9-3 teams going up against each other in Dallas there.
Yeah.
That could be the fourth division, right?
Yeah, and for the Cowboys schedule coming up, they do get a 3-game home stretch now: Washington, Seattle, and then the Eagles game. But then they go on the road to Buffalo, on the road at Miami, and then home against Detroit. That's a tough 3-game stretch at the end of the season. So, Eagles going through their tougher part right now. Cowboys going through their tougher part at the end of the year. So maybe you do want to wait, see if there's some value on either side. But yeah, that's the situation. Definitely wouldn't bet on Washington or the Giants, right, to win the division. I don't even think their odds are available on BetMGM to bet here. So
yeah, I don't blame them, right?
All right, how about the NFC North? Another one. Detroit is minus 1,200 to win the NFC North. The only other option really is Minnesota at plus 800. You could go with the Packers at plus 5,000. You can go with the Bears at plus 250,000 over on BetMGM, but it's basically between the Lions and the Vikings here. Do you think the Vikings with Dobbs under center can actually make this interesting, or is it just kind of handed it to the Lions at this point?
Yeah, I think the Lions just wrap this one. Packers, Saints, Bears, Broncos, Vikings, Cowboys, Vikings to close it out. I mean, obviously, if they slip up at all, the last two of the last 3 games are against Minnesota. Certainly, we could make that a little those matchups a little bit interesting here. But Minnesota, Chicago, Raiders, Bengals, Lions, Packers, Lions close their game out there. So we need to see the Lions lose a couple of these next games for those final 3 to matter. But I don't really see that one falling for Detroit. They're just too resilient, right? The way that game started last week, I thought they were toast, and they come back and managed to win. So,
and with some of these teams, like you're betting, like obviously not hoping for injuries, but you maybe bank in, like we were talking about with the Broncos, like you need a Mahomes injury basically for that to cash, or with the Eagles, maybe you need a Hurts injury for the Cowboys to definitely be the favorites there. With the Lions, I don't think Goff is that big of a difference maker that if he gets hurt, like are they? I feel like they're a more.
Backup? Is it Hendon Hooker? What's their backup right now?
Teddy Bridgewater. He's on a bad. Backup.
Bridgewater, right? Okay, yeah, Bridgewater's
like he's not a terrible fill-in, right?
No. You're to your point. There probably isn't a tremendous drop off in those 2 quarterbacks and their offense. They want to run the football anyways. So
yeah, the Chiefs from Mahomes to who's their backup right now? It's not Henny anymore.
You see Chad Henne forever. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, it's not Henny anymore. Is it Daniel? Is it Chase Daniel?
No, let's see. Chiefs backup quarterback Gabbert.
Oh, it's Gabbert now. Okay. See, that's a drop off, obviously. All right. How about the NFC South here? This one's close because we got the Saints minus 135, Falcons plus 210 in this division. The Buccaneers still there, plus 450. And this division standings right now, Saints are only 5-5, and the Falcons and Bucks are 4-6, only one game back. So this is still very much wide open. I know preseason, it was like the Saints, people, favoring them. I think they were preseason favorites to win the division, but there's definitely value on either the Falcons or Bucks. And I don't know, I'd probably lean Bucks, honestly, just because I feel like I trust their overall defense and maybe their weapons more than what the Falcons have, and with their quarterback situation. Don't really trust Baker Mayfield per se, but I think if I was picking either the Falcons or the Bucks, I might lean Tampa here.
Tampa's got a decent schedule. They all kind of draw pretty well. Tampa Bay has got at Indy next this week here, home versus Carolina, at Atlanta, at Green Bay, home versus Jacksonville, home versus the Saints, and then at Carolina closes. So they face the Panthers twice.
Yeah.
To kind of close it out there. They are going on the road a few times, so maybe a little bit more difficult. The Saints just placed Michael Thomas on IR, so they're going to be without Michael Thomas for 4 games. Atlanta's got the Saints this week. Then they got the Jets, Tampa Bay, Carolina, the Colts, the Bears, and the Saints again. So Atlanta's facing the Saints twice, which certainly could make an impact there on the division. The Saints have the Falcons twice, the Lions, the Giants, the Rams, the Bucks, and the Falcons I mentioned twice there. So, not terrible schedules for any of those teams here. I definitely think they're probably all going to lose at least another 1 or 2, but some easy wins as well, at least on paper, for all 3 of those teams.
Yeah. The Saints, I don't know if I'd bet the minus 135. It's not bad. But the fact
I just take the Bucks at 4 to 4.5.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think the Saints have really separated themselves at this point that it's worth betting on them. And rather, if you could take the plus money at the Bucks, I would rather do that.
I remember when we did the show earlier in the year, we saw they were giving the Carolina Panthers like a 5.5 win total. And I was like, that felt like a bit much. There they are, 1 win on the year.
You're right.
Didn't really see it with the rookie quarterback. Didn't think Bryce Young was all that good. He hasn't been that good, and that team was going to go under their win total this year.
For sure. Yeah. I'm not even going to pull up their rest of the season schedule because it probably won't matter.
Doesn't even matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
All right. How about let's finish with the NFC West here. And this one's interesting because it's the 49ers and Seahawks at the top here. Niners are 7-3. Seahawks only a game back, 6-4. The odds right now, though, 49ers minus 1,000 on BetMGM and the Seahawks plus 650.
Yeah.
There's definite value right now if you want to bet the Seahawks because the next 3 weeks, 49ers and Seahawks play twice. We're going to get this matchup 2 times in the next 3 games. And if the Seahawks win one of those, it's going to make this a lot more interesting. And who knows? They could win both.
Yeah, so, I think the problem here with Seattle is not only do they have the 49ers twice, they also have the Cowboys and the Eagles on their schedule.
They do. That's tough.
Not great for them, especially 1 game on the road, 1 game at home there. They do close out fairly, potentially an easier road here. At Tennessee, always going across country is kind of tough, and home versus Pittsburgh should be a win, I think, for Seattle. They finished the year on the road in Arizona, which I guess we'll see how Arizona continues to play with Kyler Murray here.
Yeah.
But the 49ers, they have the Seattle matchup we've talked about, Philly, but they have at Arizona, then they're home versus Baltimore, they're at Washington, which should be a win, and then they finish the year home versus the Rams, which should be pretty good for them. So just an easier run out, it feels like, for the 49ers here.
I agree, and that's probably why they are the significant favorites here, even though it's just a 1 game up. And but I do think if you wanted to, if you want value on the Seahawks, it would be now because this week's game is Sunday night at Seattle, which is a game I could see Seattle winning. So if that's a win for the Seahawks, these odds are not going to be as good at plus 650 right now to win the division. And who knows? That back end of the schedule though for Seattle is tough
right.
to end the season. All right, so those are some division odds. Should be interesting. Always nice to kind of touch base on some of how these odds change and all that. Britt Flynn chiming in on the chat here. Hi, friends. Hello, Britt. How you doing? If you guys have any of your own bets or betting thoughts, picks, definitely throw them in the chat here. Whether you're watching on Fantasy Alarm or Bettor Sports Network YouTube, definitely like and subscribe to our channels as well. That helps us out and gets more interaction, more listeners, and all that. Sorry. Let's get into some college basketball and some NBA. And if you go over to fantasyarm.com, you will see, we got NBA best bets article from Iggy Gilbert, who's been crushing it every day. College basketball DFS that I have out. Me and Pete Cole have been killing that for you guys. We will throughout this Thanksgiving holiday. But yeah, we got college basketball tonight, NBA, obviously NHL. So definitely get the Fantasy Arm All-Pro subscription. Get all these articles, obviously all of the tools for fantasy football, NFL DFS that we have, and always promoting there. The access to the Discord, which I know personally for college basketball DFS, it is critical to be in that Discord because we got late injury news and just random, top players just sitting out randomly. So you gotta be in there. But obviously for all the sports, it's helpful to get that expert access. For college basketball tonight, I got a couple picks, John. If I can just run them by you.
Yeah, go for it, man.
And then we'll get your NBA bets in just a sec. But I got two because we got some really good non-conference games here. Tonight, Kansas Marquette in the Maui Invitational. Going to be an awesome game to watch here. Late tip too. I think it's like 10:30 p.m. Eastern is going to be the start time. So if you want to stay up a little late and watch the two really good Final Four contenders battle it, you got this game. And I'm going the over here. 157 is and a half is the total. It's actually gone up a little bit, but I think this is fine. I think this is going to be a game probably going to be decided in the 80s for both teams. We've seen Kansas play one good team this year, and it was an 89-84 win against Kentucky in that Champions Classic game. A ton of offense on both sides, fast pace, quick pace on both ends. And this is what Kansas is going to be doing this year because they like to play quick on offense. They are 13th in offensive tempo in the country this year, but their defense is going to be a little lacking. They have Hunter Dickinson down low, who's really good on the offensive end, really good as a rebounder, can post up anybody below him in the block there. But defensively, he's not strong. He's not a shot blocker, really. He's not going to be stopping guys. He kind of takes some defensive plays off because he doesn't want to pick up any, get into foul trouble, that kind of thing. So it's just, we saw it against Kentucky. Kansas's defense wasn't that great. And I think it's going to be a similar spot here against Marquette, who very efficient, very good offensively. One of the best point guards in the country, Tyler Kolek, who's going to be running things there. But the backcourt between him and Cam Jones I think it's an upgrade, compared to what Kansas has been playing. We saw them struggle against Kentucky's backcourt, and I think it's going to come to fruition here. Just going to be one of those fast-paced. Both teams like to play fast, so I'm taking the over in this one. I think it's going to be. We could see a team score 90 here, but I think it's going to be a close game. We got Kansas slight favorites here, 4.5 is the spread, but I'm not going to worry about picking the winner. I'm just going to root for scoring.
Just go for points, baby, right? It's more fun that way.
Yeah, just take the high score here. And then my other one, I'm going with UNLV on the money line. This is maybe a random one, but minus 145 on BetMGM in the money line. A non-conference matchup here. Another one of these tournaments we got going on against Richmond. And I just look at UNLV. They have a ton of power conference transfers from the past couple of years with Kevin Kruger as their head coach. He's brought in multiple guys from other power conference schools, and I just love the blend. Caleb Boone, who's a really good post, scorer, Luis Rodriguez, Jalen Hill, Isaiah Cottrell, all these guys from other, power conference teams, all joining up here in UNLV, and they have a really good freshman point guard who's like a 5-star recruit, D-Dan Thomas, who's running the show at the point there, kind of facilitating everything. And I just love their talent level. It's just at a different spot than what Richmond has, who was a team that lost their best player from the offseason, transferred to Villanova, Tyler Burton. And I still think they're trying to figure things out because they've played two actual, D1 legit teams. Their other two games were cupcake wins, but they're actually two good games. They've lost to both Boston College and Colorado. who aren't like, Colorado's pretty good, but Boston College isn't that great. And UNLV, by the way, they've actually played some decent mid-majors. Stetson and Pepperdine are actually among, the better edge of what mid-major teams are. And I think they're looking to bounce back after they just lost to Florida State yesterday. But UNLV is a team that likes to, they have a slower pace, and they didn't match up well against Florida State yesterday, who likes to play quick. And, UNLV had trouble matching their tempo at times, but Richmond is a slow-paced team, and I think it's going to be playing right into what UNLV likes to do. So give me the money line for UNLV tonight. Should be a fun game though to watch, a tight one too. But I'm just grabbing the money line with the UNLV running Rebels.
Love it. So we got UNLV minus 2.5 money line play there, or not minus 2.5, just the money line. Then we have the over.
Staying away from the spread for that. Just the money line's not too bad, minus 145.
Love it.
All right, how about NBA? You got some bets for it? We got almost a full slate of games tonight, right?
Yeah, well, we got 5 tonight. We have a big Wednesday.
Wednesday's the big one, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Wednesday's the big one, but we still have I got a handful of props that I'm in on here today. We can start off. I got 2 picks I like on Keontae George here tonight. Point guard for the Utah Jazz. They took him in the draft this year. I think it was like 16th overall. They recently moved him into the starting lineup. They put Talon Horton-Tucker on the bench. Since being moved into the starting lineup, he's averaging 8.8 assists per game. But his line tonight just set at 6.5 against the Lakers at minus 120. So we're going to ride Keontae George over the 6.5 assists here. And then I want to double it up with his double-double prop. Now, this is someone that I've been touting as a double-double play for the last handful of slates. And we've gotten 2 games with double-digit assists, and we've gotten 2 games with double-digit points. He scored 15 points twice. He had 11 assists twice, but neither of them were in the same game. We had this line open at plus 650 on the double-double today. It's now down to plus 600, so some money is coming in on that one. So I think we might get that complete game here tonight for Keontae George and actually get the double-double. So I like the over-assist at 6.5. That feels too low given how he's performed in the starting lineup this year. And then I think that double-double comes through for us. So 2 picks on Keontae George there, and then another play in Utah. I've said it a bunch of times on the DFS show. I'm just going to keep taking the over on Jordan Clarkson points until it's like 25 or higher. We just missed out by 1.5 the other night. Clarkson shot like 8 for 30 basically from the floor. Wasn't his best shooting night there in the double overtime game, but still, came in with 22 points. He's been hitting the over on 20 and 20.5, which is where it's been the last few slates prior to the 23.5 point bump. Now it's at 22.5. It's a minus 105, and it's going up against the Lakers here. With the new starting lineup that they have, again, Keontae George doesn't take a bunch of shots. They put Agbaji in the starting lineup. He took just 1 field goal attempt the other day in his 33 minutes of play. It's all Jordan Clarkson and Lauri Markkanen taking the shots here. So liking Clarkson over points at 22.5 here at the minus 105. So that's your Utah Lakers game. Maybe a little same game parlay potentially if you want to kind of throw those picks into one and find another game there, part of the Lakers spread. But that's what I got for Utah side here. 2 more plays that I like tonight. I like.
By the way, we got Ice Through on YouTube here saying the double-double is an Impemba call for a while. He's been loving it.
I have. I literally been calling his double-double now for like 5 weeks or 5 games rather, and he's given us either double-digit scoring or double-digit points, but he's never given it to us together. And I feel like or double-digit assists hasn't given it us together. I think it happens here tonight. Willing to take the plus 600 bet on it against the Lake Show here tonight. Eric Gordon over 2.5 3-pointers made. He's gone over this in 4 straight games. It's plus 105 tonight. It's a huge spread. Phoenix is a big time favorite tonight against Portland, but the way Eric Gordon's been shooting without Bradley Beal in the lineup, playing that complementary role to Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. He took 8 3-pointers the other day. He's shooting about 40% from 3 over the last 4 or 5 games here, going over the 2.5 threes per game. So I'm liking Gordon keeping the outside shot flowing here against a bad defensive Trailblazers team. And then I'll finish it off. Another play that, again, it feels like a little low. I know Vegas, there's no such thing as Vegas getting it wrong. They're usually pretty good about setting these lines right. But Saddiq Bey at 18.5 PRA, points, rebounds, and assists, set at minus 105 here tonight. He's gone over this total in 8 of 12 games this season. He's gone over this total in 4 straight games. They've been giving him more minutes of late over the last 3 or so. He's been playing more minutes than DeAndre Hunter has been seeing. And this game tonight between Atlanta and Indy has a 251 game total, which is one of the highest I think I've seen this season in the NBA. And if Bay continues to get that kind of minutes like he's been, the 18.5 just feels too low for a guy that's gone over in 8 of the 12 games as it is. Now add in this game flow that we're expecting, add in the increased minutes we've seen over the last few games out of him as well. Again, Vegas doesn't get things wrong, but this certainly feels like one of those like mistake lines. So I'm going to run it out at 18.5 for Saddiq Bey here.
Yeah, I mean, that something that low with how often he's gone over that. You said 4 straight and 8 of the last 12, 8 of 12.
8 of the 12 games this season and 4 straight.
With a total that high
well, that's what I'm saying. A pace that high, it just feels like something has to go wrong, like early foul trouble, for this like to not go. The one thing is he does come off the bench. He doesn't start, so there is a chance, I guess, if DeAndre Hunter gets hot, that like they don't put Saddiq Bey in as early, or maybe they're not as quick to leave him out there. But Hunter's been struggling, and Bey's been the guy that's been closing and playing more minutes lately. So again, it's all the trends are saying this is an overplay. I'm gonna keep riding it.
Yeah, and tonight we got it's all NBA in-season tournament, right? Games. Yeah. So should be some fun games. I know we got 2 TNT games at least, but
the 251 game total is wild. Again, I haven't seen anything that high. I think we had 243. I want to say with the Bucks and Mavericks the other day, and that went over. I think finished like 254 or something like that. So some very high scoring games here. I'm excited to watch this Atlanta and Pacers game tonight.
So when you see a total that high, are you inclined to take the over because it's so high?
I don't know. I almost feel like it's too high, but then these teams have been going over, right? So they can still go for like 240 points and it'd be a very high scoring game. So for it to be at 251 now, again, it opened at 250. It's up to 2. People are betting up. They're just saying over is coming here still. So I feel like I'm inclined to take the under and still have it be like a fantastic game because they'll go for like 247 and we win. So but if this game goes for like 260 points or whatever, I mean, like DFS is going to be hilarious tonight because there's just going to be so many fantasy points scored in that game.
It's going to be like a 140 to 120 game.
It's not even that. It's like a 2-point spread or something like that too. Like it is not even a game that is expected to be a blowout. 3.5. Okay, I'm sorry. It's now up to 252.5.
Oh, it's going up.
And Atlanta's giving 3.5.
Oh, jeez.
So, like you could probably take the over on Trey assists. Probably take the Trey double doubles minus 220. You could probably do over Halliburton points at 23.5. I mean, if the over's hitting on this game, almost every prop has to be hitting, right? Like scoring props for everybody have to go over. The assist props for Halliburton and Trae Young probably go over. It's a wild spread.
I'm looking at Iggy Gilbert's article from Fantasy Arm. He's got a prop from this game, so won't give away what the bet is.
I'm gonna check it out. I gotta see where I got Iggy's doing.
He's got one in there, a prop bet to go over in this game. So definitely check out his article. Again, Fantasy Alarm All Pro subscription to get his picks every day. All right, that's about it for us. We'll be back tomorrow. Me and Howard Bender giving out bets for the Thanksgiving games and the Black Friday game. Coming up after us, 5 p.m. Eastern, we got Jon Impemba again here with James Grande, NBA DFS Live Show, Bettor Sports Network, and Fantasy on YouTube's 7 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday edition of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Show with Eric Balkman. And then 7 p.m. Eastern, we got the NFL Trivia on the BettorCast app tonight. So go check out the BettorCast app. If you haven't already, go download it, Apple app and Google Play stores. But tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, is the NFL Trivia night. Answer NFL trivia questions, multiple choice questions in a free contest there. You'll win real NFL merchandise by doing that. So, all right. So that's tonight. Again, we'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate everyone tuning in here on a Tuesday afternoon. Good luck with all your own bets and picks tonight. And we'll see you guys tomorrow That we got a couple people chiming in here. I bet your props, John. Don't fail me, says Mark Pitts. So don't fail Mark here.
Mark, I got you. And Daniel, yes, they did waive Darrell Henderson. I don't know why. They got Kyrie Williams coming back, but they let Henderson go.
Someone will pick Henderson up. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. So take care.
See ya.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.